popping pillies, man, I feel just like a rock star.
Hey everyone, my name is Giselle. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the Shadow Man. So when I was about 4 or 5 years old, my mom and my dad were always working. So my auntie, she was taking care of me. She was downstairs, I believe watching TV or cooking or something, and I was upstairs. I was playing with my Barbie doll, the one that's like from the shoulders up, the one that you do their hair. And I remember seeing something move in the corner of my eye. I did not know what it was, so I didn't really pay any attention to it. I was like, oh, maybe it's the curtain, or maybe it's my auntie coming to check up on me. So I was sitting down doing my doll's hair, and I remember a noise coming from like the bed area. So I was kind of freaked out, so I looked, and when I looked, I remember seeing this tall figure, maybe about 7 to 7 feet tall, and he was wearing a hat, and he was wearing a long black trench coat. So this is a picture that I found on Google that kind of looks like what he looked like to me that day. So I got freaked out and I was frozen for a bit, and then I ran. I ran past him, and as I ran past him, I looked back, and when I looked back, I remember seeing a hole on the wall, a black hole on the wall. And I remember when I saw it, I ran downstairs and I was yelling for my auntie. I was like, Tia, Tia. Like, I saw someone upstairs. I saw a man in all black. I saw a hole on the wall. And she was freaked out, of course, because I was running down, crying and yelling. You know, I was scared. So she told me to wait there. She went upstairs and she checked, and there was nothing there. She came down and she told me I had nothing to worry about, that there was nothing there, just to stay downstairs with her. I told her, okay. I remember a few weeks passed and my auntie was taking care of me again. We were downstairs. I don't know what we were doing, I don't remember, but I remember she went upstairs. The light to the kitchen was off and I was sitting down in the living room, and I remember seeing him again, and I remember he was walking towards me and I got really scared. So I yelled again for my auntie. I ran upstairs. She told me to go downstairs with her to check, and there was nothing there. So, you know, I was really scared at that point because I didn't know what was going on. And then ever since then, you know, I feel like I see him here and there. I don't see him really close to me. I don't see him think like that. But I do see him like from the corner of my eye, or it seems like I see him in a distance, but I don't know who it is or what it is or why it's following me. My mom and dad, they got separated, and me and my brother live with our dad. And there was always weird things happening, you know. There was always noises that, you know, there was always noises I heard, as if, you know, there was a chair moving, a door closing, things like that. But my brother and my dad never really paid attention to it, or they either didn't really, you know, believe or anything. So they would shake it off. They'll tell me it's nothing. Ever since then, I can't sleep with, you know, the closet open or the door open or anything. And then me and my boyfriend and our 2 kids, we moved alone. And I remember one night, my boyfriend, me, and our 2 kids, we were in the living room watching TV, and I don't know if I was watching a scary movie or something. I don't remember, but I do remember we had all the lights off. The light to the back to like our backyard was on, and out of nowhere it turned off and then turned back on by itself. So we're like, me and my boyfriend stared at each other like, what was that? You know, what the hell? So that left kind of chills with us, but we just shook it off. And I was already used to hearing things and used to somewhat seeing him, and I was just used to everything already. But I remember one time, oh my god, that scared me. I remember one time me and my kids were in the living room again watching TV, and I don't know what I was doing, if I was playing with them in the living room or if I was actually watching TV with them. But I do remember seeing something move in our hallway. My boyfriend was at work, so I remember seeing something move in the hallway and I was wondering what it was. So I didn't want to pay attention because I felt like I was gonna see him again. I didn't want to pay any attention to it, but it kept moving. So I finally looked and I saw something move from one hallway to the other hallway. And it was like if it was hiding. So I didn't really care. I just got up, I turned on the light to the living room, and then I sat back down. No, I did not go check what it was. Hell no, I'm not gonna do that. Ever since then, you know, it's the same old thing, hearing things move, doors closing, things like that. So about 2 months ago, we moved into our current apartment. It was the same thing over again. Hearing things move, doors closing, things like that. So I was alone in my boys' room. They're 2 and 4 years old. So I was in their room and my boys were in my room. I believe they were playing, they were playing with their toys, and I was cleaning up their room. I was also listening to music while I was cleaning up. I remember clearly hearing one of the cabinets in the kitchen close really hard and a chair moving, and it moved like if someone was pushing it. So I started yelling, Jordan, Max, like, what are you guys doing? And they came to the room from my room and they're like, what? And I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like, nothing, we're not doing nothing, we're playing. And I was all like, you guys weren't in the kitchen? They're like, no. And I'm like, you didn't move that chair. You didn't get up there and get something. They're like, no. And my son, he's 4 years old, his name is Jordan. He was really like scared because he heard it too. And he's like, no, mommy, that wasn't me, mommy. That wasn't me or Max. We were playing in your room. And I didn't want to believe them, but I did believe them because I heard them open the door to the room, open the door to their room, and come when I called them. I came to check, and it was halfway to the kitchen, and the cabinet was closed. When I say that the chair was close to the wall before it even moved, it was like this. When I came to check where it was right here. So I'm like, oh my god, like, what the hell, what was that? I just shook it off. I put the chair back and I just said, you know what, if you're here, just leave me alone. I won't bother you, just leave us alone. Just about 2 days ago, I remember hearing like the faucet turn on a little bit, and you can hear that it was running. And I'm like, oh my god, not this again, like, what the hell? I went to the bathroom and I turned it off. And I believe just yesterday, some new neighbors moved downstairs. We were speaking to them and they told us how this building burned down a few years ago and the current landlord built it all by himself, you know. So I didn't know that. I don't know if anyone passed away because of it or what. And you can always hear things going on. And there was another thing where, well, me and my boyfriend and our 2 boys slept in the boys' room, and we had our window open, but the door was closed. The other door to my room, to our room, it was open, but there was no other windows open in the house. Our window in our bedroom, it was not opened, it was closed. The windows in the living room were closed, and then the windows in the kitchen were closed. So we heard the door slam. So we're like, oh my God, what is that? So we thought, oh, maybe it was the wind. So we got up and we checked the windows and they were all closed. So we don't know how it was possible, or if it would be possible if the window in the boys' room would be able to close the door, even though the boys' room door was closed, and the door that closed, that slammed shut, was the door to mine and my boyfriend's bedroom. So that was another weird thing that happened that kind of had a shook. Other than that, like I said, it's just been little things moving here and there. You know, hearing like water drip, even though we didn't shower that day, or things like that. So it's just weird things that happen. I know my son, sometimes he's like, oh mom, it's the ghost, whenever he hears things. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, it's the ghost. And I'm like, okay, Jordan, whatever. And I just leave it at that. Before we moved here, we were living with a friend, and we lived with her for about 2 months. And I remember that I was in the room alone with a boy. They were sleeping. Their dad was at work, and it was nighttime. I'm gonna say it was about 2 a.m. And there was a fan in that room, but the fan was off. So the boys had, like, I don't know if it was a red or a green ball, but they had it and they were playing with it before they fell asleep, and they just left it on the floor. I was on Snapchat and I was just looking at people's stories, and I noticed the ball moving. I got really creeped out, but before I got really scared, I was like, oh, okay, let me check if the fan's on. So I turned on my light, I point up, and the fan's off. So I got really scared. I opened up, you know, to record a video on Snapchat, and I was recording the ball moving. I even pointed to the fan and showed them that the fan was off and that the ball was moving. And when I said stop, the ball would like kind of stop, and then it would start moving even faster when I wouldn't say anything. And then once I would say stop, it'll get slower and slower until it almost stopped, and then it started moving and moving again. I kept my flashlight on. I turned on the light to the room. I grabbed the ball and I put it in the closet, and I was freaked out. I left it in there. I did not want to touch it. I kept my light on for the rest of the night. I fell asleep with the light on, and I was just using my phone after that. Those were, you know, kind of the big event. If you guys ever had any experiences like that, let me know, because I really want to know what that thing is, what he is. I don't know. I really want to know what's going on, and, you know, why he, you know, has always been there since that first time. I do remember telling my cousin about it years later, maybe when I was about 10 years old. I remember her telling me that those apartments, before they were built, it used to be like a cemetery there, and then they built the apartments or the townhouses on top of the cemetery. So I don't know if that's true or not, because I've been like looking online and I haven't really found anything about that. So I don't know, you know, if it's true or not. So if you guys know any information, if you guys can please help me out, let me know. I know it sounds crazy, and I know most of you won't believe me, but for those of you who do, just let me know if you can, like, if you even know what it is or how I can get rid of it. Well, thank you for watching. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I have other stories of things that I have actually done and played with that I shouldn't have played with, or done research on things that I shouldn't have researched. So if you want to hear more stories, let me know. Thank you for watching.